Welcome to another Game Grinder deck profile. This one's for Thunder Knights. So let's get started with the buddy himself. So obviously the flag's Dragon and Dragobond. So the buddy for this one is Thunder Knights leader Commander Faheni. So you pay 1 gauge to call this knight to the field, and he will give all your other Thunder Knights on the field an additional crit. Plus, if they do not have the move ability at that particular time, this card also gives them the ability to move. So moving into the deck, we start with 3 copies of one of the new Thunder Knights, Hardy Knife Dragon. This card is a cost of 1. When he's on the field, if there's another Thunder Knight, he gets the ability to move, and when he moves, you get to draw a card. It's in the latest expansion. Quite costly for a size 0 of 1 gauge, but that ability to move will offer you options when it comes to finding a new hand, counters and other bits. So I run 3 of this. So after the size 0s are the size 1s, so getting started on the size 1s, the first one's Dragowatcher. For those of you who are not familiar with this card, basically when he's called, if you have another Thunder Knight on the field, you get to draw a card. So same as the grade 0, this is part of the drive engine, the draw engine of the deck, and allows you to get those bigger hands, which then offers you the flexibility for the counters or playing stronger monsters, gives you flexibility. Next size 1 is Silver Chain Dragon, so Thunder Knight Silver Chain Dragon. When he's on the field, if there's another Thunder Knight, he gets the move effect as well. So if you've got a couple of size 1s, one of which can't move, this then triggers and he gets the effect. On top of that, he has an axe skill, so you can pay 1 gauge. When you do, you can lower the defense of a monster on the field by 3000, which is great for turning quite a hard monster into a more manageable threat. So this axe skill is stackable. So what that basically means, if you pay 2 gauge, you can lose it by 6. So it is quite a flexible card for anyone who is thinking of building a Thunder Knights deck. So up next we have Soaring Bronco Dragon. This is another fairly new card, came out in the last expansion for a cost of 1 gauge. If you have another Thunder Knights on the field, this card gets Penetrate, which is quite an aggressive card, adds a lot more aggression to the deck. So we run 2 of these in the deck. One of the other good strong grade ones we run is Spike Shoulder Dragon. Same again, 6k attack, 2 crit, 2000 defense, can only be played on the left or right, but with some of the other cards that I'll be coming on to later, this then gives the deck another level of aggression, a lot of strength, so you can basically smash through that centre and offer some good aggression that turn, high crit count. The last grade 1 I run in this deck is a 1-shot. This is Thunder Knight's Double Foul Dragon. When this card is played, if you have a Thunder Knight on the field, it gets moved. When it moves, you get to destroy a soul of a card on the field. The reason I run this is there are some decks out there that have a lot of heavy soul which are hard to get through. Just being able to move before you even start, well, before they start the attack on you, and by doing so they lose their soul guard, I find quite useful. Now I run 1 of these, I am toying with 2. But that ability just to get rid of a soul guard, I think it's brilliant. So we're going to start the size 2 lineup now. This is Thunder Knight's Salgo Dragon. For those of you who don't know who he is, he has been around for a long time, but you pay 1 gauge, has the move ability, but his stats are exceptionally strong. 6000 attack, 2 crit, 6000 defense. We're on 4 of this guy because he's one of the key units in my deck. On top of high aggression, you like good defense, the ability to almost have like an iron wall, slam back at them on their own turn, and this is one of the key cards for that kind of strategy. Right, so into the next size 2, this is Battle Axe Dragon. 5/5 with 4 crit, so he's a good strong all-rounder with cool cost of 2. Now I like this guy because you can get him early in the game, you can hit hard early for a decent amount of damage, but 5/5 you can usually play a couple of counters with because everyone immediately aims for him, so it kind of forces out their go on one particular card, so you're almost controlling the situation and controlling what they're targeting. So it's a kind of a mixture between exceptionally good offense, but just it can hold them with the right counter, which we'll come on to soon. Last of the grade 2 lineup is actually the buddy himself for Faheni. Now he's a size 2 with 5/2/5 again. Pay 1 gauge. When he's on the field, all other Thunder Knights get a crit and the ability to move. Now we're on 4 of this guy because he's quite important into the deck to allow the gauge to basically charge up, give a lot more aggression with the crit. Now the gauge I'll be coming on to shortly once we go through the certain cards that are part of that combination, but an exceptionally good card. Any of you that don't run this in a Thunder Knights deck, I would question it. Most of you probably do and understand why. So let's move on. straight into the grade 3s. So this is Thunder Knight Bastard Sword Dragon. I only run one of him, but with the new grade 0 lineup, I thought it would be a good idea to run at least one grade 3. The ability to move with weapons and a grade 0 still offers a great amount of basically threat to my opponent. Plus his stats are very good, 726, so can offer quite a lot of aggression, especially some more strong builds like Seagull, where it's all about defense, Raging Spirits, where it's all about one card and you have to get through it as quickly as possible. But with double attack, it just offers the ability to just kind of keep slamming more than once on one turn and get through that problem card. To get through some of those problem cards, one of the things you'll need is weapons. So coming on to the items, we've got Steel Fist, DragoKnuckle. This helps us with the gauge issue with this deck because everything costs. So one, when he hits for life points, you do 2 damage, but you get to gauge a crit. Now it's only 2000 attack, but it does have a very good counteract ability. Pay 1 gauge, give it an extra 2000. If it's against your opponents, you can crank it up 2000. Sometimes that's just enough to take you over. On your turn as the act, you can pay 1 or 2 gauge to crank it up to 4 or 6. Nice little card. But after that, sometimes you just need severe punishment. So when that comes out, we use basically this, which is Sancho An Impact. Now this is 6,000 attack with 2 crit, pay 1 gauge, and if you link attack with your buddy, in my case for him, that's infinity. So the times where you are just having mega issues against certain defensive builds, this is the kind of one I used to go to handle those situations. The last weapon I use is Twin Blades Drago Anthem. Now sometimes you just have to keep hitting and hitting and hitting away at a centre card, get through their soul guards. This is the card that helps me do that. If I've got a link attack twice in one turn, this allows me to attack twice on centre, monster on either side. Sometimes you just need that ability to just keep slamming away at the opponent to get them down, wear them down, before you can get to their life points. Now, what we're going to come on to now is spells. So after we've done our aggressive stage, we've got to look after ourselves. And one of the key cards that helps me do this is good old-fashioned Green Dragon Shield. For those of you who don't know what this is, maybe you're new to the game, this nullifies an attack and you gain 1 life. You must have your centre open, but the ability just to say, no, you're not getting at me, get a little bit more life for doing so, exceptionally handy. After Green Dragon Shield, my next kind of go-to card is Dragobond. Now this is great for Thunder Knights because you use a lot of left and right. And what this does is, if on your opponent's turn, you can counter any stage and put this into the soul. So when you move, you have like a soul guard, but also when you die, you get 2 life and the card stays on the field. So it's a really good, strong card. The only callback is you can't use it when there's a monster in the centre. So that move ability is crucial to use before you trigger that move ability. But giving you an extra 2 life once it's popped, and the ability that your monster stays on the field, it means your opponent has to hit him again and again a couple of times, which then frees you up to then basically look at what's coming next, or just hold or cut down on the amount of damage you're going to get. Now if you are looking to hold, the card that will help you to do that is Drago Energy. Now what this does is when your monster attacks one of your monsters, you give it 3 and 3, so 3k defense, 3k offense, and counter attack. So they hit you, you survive, and then smash back at them on their own turn. So after Dragobond, this is the next good card to go to. After Dragobond, we use Drago Solid. Now this is kind of a 5k version of the same card. The only difference is it can only be used on the left and right. Now you're probably wondering what's the point in that if you can move. Now some cards don't, for example, Battle Axe, and I like this card for the ones that sometimes they're aiming for that really stronger card that you've moved to the left, and you can just slam back for slightly stronger attack power, because sometimes they see that 3 coming. This just cranks it up just a little bit more, which they're not suspected of. I only run one of this at the moment, but that might change depending on how it works as I play some games over the next couple of weeks. Now the last card I use for kind of that Iron Wall system is Wraith of Dragon. I personally think this is one of the best dragon counters you can get out there, because you can use it when you're attacking or being attacked. The Armoured Knight must be in the battle state to use it, but what it does, give it +6/+6. So that 5 goes immediately to an 11. So if you're attacking, that's enough to get through. On the other hand, if you're defending, that could be, say, Helbert going up to 12. A lot harder to get through. I think it's a brilliant card. Really forces your opponent to then just keep using their attack phase to get through one card rather than hitting your life points. Now the last card of the deck is 4 copies of Thunder Formation. Now this is a key card in a Thunder Knights deck. It acts as 2 things. 1, your impact, and 2, basically your gauge engine. Because every time one of your Thunder Knights moves on your opponent's turn, you get to gauge. So for example, if you've got Fahani out, he gives another move to another card. You move both, it's 2 gauge. You've got 2 of these out because you can stack this card, that's 4 gauge. Once you get to 4 gauge, you then can use the second stage of this card's ability, which is pay 4 gauge, look at the top 3 cards and call Thunder Knights from those top 3 cards to the field. The rest of the cards go to the drop zone, but what that does is give you a secondary attack phase. So you attack with 2 Thunder Knights, and then the idea is hopefully another 2. My only tip though is if you do play this, try to have the 6 gauge, not your 4. The reason being is there's nothing worse than you use all your gauge and then every card you pull has a call cost, which means you've just popped it and you can't do anything with it. So we've gone through the 50 card deck for Thunder Knights. Hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have any questions please post them below or visit me on my Facebook page, which is Game Grinder. So enjoy, and we'll catch you on our next video. Take care.